Ninja Theory's recently released character-based 4v4 melee combat game, Bleeding Edge, has its quirks and charms, but also falls short in some vital areas. So in this video, I'm going to break down why I believe Bleeding Edge is a good game, but just a good game, and I'm doing it right now. Hey squad, Sykes here, and a kindly reminder that if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you leave a like, head over to InstallationX and subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications of future uploads. I'm going to start with the character design and gameplay, as this is where I believe Bleeding Edge is at its best. There are currently 12 characters in Bleeding Edge, split between 3 groups: damage, support and tank. Damage characters have a balance between damage per second and health, support characters are your healers, and tanks have much higher health stats to be the frontline fighters. What is clearly going to be a fun challenge with Bleeding Edge is studying all the characters to figure out the best strategies and approaches. I have so far been taking a character at a time and attempting to learn them well before moving on to another. This has made me feel that even if I have a rough game or two with a certain character, I am making progress in terms of my understanding of the character's abilities, timings and strategies. However, this can also be a downside to the game as well, as there is a lot to learn. There is a clear skew in terms of difficulty to play each character. Some characters are clearly specified as being easy to use, such as Buttercup, Zero Cool, Demon and Nidhogger, and are a good place to start for beginners. More complex characters such as Maeve, Cass and Kulev are harder to run and are usually resigned to players who have sufficiently mastered Bleeding Edge's combat mechanics. This can make it rather tricky if your preferred character has been selected, or you are not comfortable with being stuck if a more challenging character is only available. The fact that Bleeding Edge for me at least has a steep learning curve could lead to players getting frustrated and turning their backs on the game for good. That's just my thoughts as someone not quite comfortable with the genre yet. The characters however have great variation between them, and Ninja Theory has done a great job at providing players with various different playstyles through different characters and their abilities. For example, even though Gizmo and Nidhogger are both in the damage group, they play completely different, with Nidhogger getting up close and personal dealing damage through burn effects, whereas Gizmo works at range using her minigun, turrets and bomb. This has felt unique and enjoyable and is a great way of breaking things up and making each game feel fresh with a different character. If the characters and their abilities are the strong backbone of Bleeding Edge, then it's its intricacy of how all these characters play against one another in game and on the screen where for me, Bleeding Edge starts to falter. Ninja Theory made a clear design choice to focus on team combat and sticking together, focusing on the flow of matches around larger team battles. In Bleeding Edge, it is vital that you stick together as a team. This is helped by a ping system similar to that of Apex Legends, which allows teams to communicate even if everyone isn't on a mic. If you get caught 1v2 or 1v3, you aren't going to last very long, you are going to die. Now herein lies the problem. When every player of your team and the opposition team are in close combat and popping off abilities, it can be nearly impossible to keep track of what's going on. This is a good idea in principle, but in practice it has become such a graphical cluster that it can be very difficult to keep track of who you are attacking and who is attacking you. Before you know it, you're in the middle of a scramble and you're dead and you're not knowing who killed you or how. This is down to the fact that with most encounters you have at least 3 or 4 characters, each popping off their unique abilities. It becomes such an explosion and cluster of pixels, keeping track is very difficult. That's all while at the same time having to manually move the camera, which doesn't position itself at well the best of times. Then there is the parry mechanic. The parry mechanic is supposed to act as your defensive tool to counter opponents' attacks and knock them off balance, giving you a window of opportunity to go on the offensive. However, the parry mechanic can only be applied while stationary and has to be timed perfectly for it to work. Couple that with the on-screen chaos that is already taking place, it can become even more difficult to track who is attacking you and at what point their animation is at for you to then counter with your parry, and in many cases you either fail and still take damage, or you have to try and dash out to recover. However, to counter that, there is the existence of the dojo. This is a practice area against bot AI where you can learn how to run and play each character. Practicing abilities and combos and getting used to the character's movement and health is really important to be successful in a live match. It also gives you the freedom to apply the parry ability in a more controlled environment, giving you the opportunity to learn the animation of each character so you can time your parry correctly. The game also offers well-structured tutorials to help introduce new players, which you can go back to at any point if you feel necessary. So far, Bleeding Edge has 5 maps for you to play either of its 2 game modes, Objective Control or Power Collection. Objective control is a straightforward capture the points when they are unlocked and available. Power collection is where players need to collect power cells and then hand them in at available drop zones when they are unlocked. Both of these game modes are good and solid and enjoyable, but I feel with a lack of variety things could get very repetitive soon. In terms of map design, there is a good level of verticality in all maps with the addition of jump pads to give yourself a height advantage to fire down upon your enemies or to use as escape routes. All 5 maps have a very similar point A and C in the wide areas with a point B in the middle. What is unique about Bleeding Edge is that capture points to control and delivery points to deliver power cells only become available for timed intervals. This means that you have to fight for position and territory when these points become available, which can result in some solid team battles frequently throughout matches. A unique spin on this is the moving control points of aqueducts that rotate around the map. Also scattered throughout each map are environmental hazards that you can use to your advantage, such as missile strikes on Boneyard, the moving trains on Jersey Sink and Landslide, or the electric gates on aqueducts. Overall, I like the design of the maps, even if it is a little basic and similar throughout. However, the big thing that I don't like is the ability to go back to your home base once you've spawned in. This has been used far too often where enemies will run back to their home base where the other team is blocked from entering. This is a massive cop-out from a fight and becomes infuriating. The workshop is a solid entry and provides 3 mod slots for you to customise each individual character's abilities for those wanting to put the time in and take a more custom approach. On the other hand, the workshop does feel a little bare bones as well. There are very few customisation options available for boards, skins and emotes. Hopefully more will be added with continued support from Ninja Fury, but I have to judge what is in front of me right now. Overall, Bleeding Edge provides an enjoyable but slightly flawed experience. The unique cast of characters and their abilities provide continued variation and challenge in a mostly good gameplay experience. However, this can be held back by an over-reliance on teamwork, an overzealous art style and a below-par camera. Bleeding Edge stands as an overall solid experience that is lacking depth, with more game modes, maps and customization options required to flesh this happy meal out into a full-on feast. Time will tell if that necessary support will come from Ninja Fury. Until then, I will head back and enjoy Bleeding Edge as a good game, but just a good game, for now. Well squad, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, then please make sure you leave a like, you head over to InstallationX and subscribe, and you hit that bell for notifications of future uploads. Don't forget to leave me your thoughts on Bleeding Edge so far in the comment section below. Don't forget to follow the channel on social media in the description below. And as always, I'm Sykes, and for more on Bleeding Edge and all things Xbox, stay tuned to InstallationX. Bye guys.